Welcome to the 5 Things Move 2011. I'm your host, Sean V. Martin. Joining us today is our reporter in the field, SVM Prime. Prime?
Sean, it's sheer pandemonium down here. Hundreds of boxes are coming in.
Hey, am I the only one who's going to do any of this? I'm sorry, I'm losing you there, Prime. You said...
Yes, millions of boxes are coming in.
Seriously?
Maybe we should...
Gotcha. This is 5 Things. The Stanley Parable is one of the most unique video game experiences that I've had since the very first time I played Portal. It's wildly original, completely unexpected, and one of those things you immediately have to tell everyone you know that they gotta go play it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm telling everyone I know, go play it. I'm talking to you, go play it. What are you doing? Go play it!
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Okay, so now I'm at the point where I have to decide if I'm not gonna do what the narrator says. I gotta know.
This was not the correct way to the employee lounge, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
To show you anymore would be a disservice. You really have to experience this game for yourself for the first time. Although I will say it's very fun to watch other people have their first experience with it. Carter and I will be talking about this on the podcast tomorrow, specifically me watching Alicia's first playthrough of the game. Very interesting. You don't need to have Half-Life 2 to play this. All you need is the SDK. It's free. As long as you have Steam, you can install it. Link is in the dingle flip. Speaking of Half-Life mods, Counter-Strike was the mod that changed it all back in 1999 when it was released for the very first Half-Life title. Valve released Counter-Strike as a full retail title, then they released Counter-Strike Source in 2004. The game has undergone minor improvements here and there over the years, but next year will be the first real follow-up called Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Little is known about this title, except that it's being developed by the same team that developed Counter-Strike Source and the awesome game Defense Grid: The Awakening. Meet Cosby Sweater.
Okay, so I'm Allie Gertz.
She's an awesome amateur singer-songwriter who has only 2 videos up on YouTube, but between them she's amassed over 100,000 hits thanks to some very well-placed retweets. The system works! The system works! Her first song was all about comedians, a few of them a bit obtuse and lesser known.
It is not my fault that I like patinage walls. It is not a crime that I've got raw pupil on my mind.
But her last song, uploaded a week ago, took off with this universal and time-tested theme: Dungeons and Dragons.
You've got the snacks, they've got the die. You roll your stats as they get high. Roll 3 18s, your lucky night. You hope that you'll get in a fight.
And despite over 60,000 hits, she doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers, or a decent camera. So head on over to her channel and say something nice. She's looking for topics for upcoming songs. I don't know, Star Wars?
When science comes up with a solution to a problem, it's awesome, and usually the more complex the problem, the more awesome the solution tends to be.
Ross Exton has some horrible news for you.
Research published by Eric Lechner and Lars Norpchen of the University of California, Santa Cruz details the dangers of a chemical known as dihydrogen monoxide, or DHMO for short. This chemical is colourless, tasteless and odourless, and no action has been taken regarding this potentially dangerous contamination.
Sounds serious. We should do something about that awful sounding chemical. Am I okay? Yeah, just water. So, Ross likes science and stuff.
The Oxford English Dictionary describes science as the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behaviour of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment.
And he's very good at talking about it. And he's got that dreamy accent. What? Check out Ross's channel, link in the whoopsie-doo. And finally, a little read for you analytical types. This article from the Chicago Tribune is titled The Fine Art of YouTube, and it's about how people like Wheezy Waiter or John and Hank Green are creating a new art form with their 3 to 5 minute masterpieces. I do make a lot of video game videos, but every so often I make videos that I would say are a little bit arty. What do you think, Prime?
Tens of millions of boxes!
You guys suck! The article is a great read, check it out. And that does it for 5 Things this week. After you check out the Stanley Parable, you can check out my playthrough over on SVM Gaming, or listen to Sean and Carter have a podcast tomorrow when I'm sure we're going to talk about it to death. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Sean V. Martin, and I'll see you next week. How do I get out of here?
Yay! Yay!
Dean was not the Quidditch announcer. That was Lee Jordan, who was a totally different character from Dean. And I'm
Dean
just
is the big brick of a guy, right?
He's a tall guy. Well, he was a tall guy in Deathly Hallows too. Lee Jordan was like the kid with like the he kind of had like longer hair.
He had dreads.
He had dreads, and I said that was Dean, and that was totally Lee Jordan. I'm sorry.
And I totally didn't catch it.
Didn't catch it, so I'm just gonna chalk that up to I'm a racist.
I was too busy thinking about what I wanted to say next. I'm not listening to you when you're talking.
1, 2, 3. Okay, now, yeah, that was awful. So remember, this will be going on Sean's video in the beginning. It's an intro to his 5 things with Sean Martin. Every Friday he puts it together and he looks for intros, and so he has his friends and whatever. Family, whatever. Do something like this week.
Okay, so shout it louder.